The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Pompey have completed the signing of centre-back Josh Knight from German club Hannover 96 for an undisclosed fee, subject to international clearance. The 27-year-old, who has also appeared for Leicester and Peterborough, has agreed a 3-year deal at Fratton Park. Blues boss John Messinho said, "We're delighted to strengthen our defensive ranks with a player we've been tracking for a long time. I remember him being absolutely outstanding for Peterborough in the season we won promotion from League One, and I felt they were unlucky not to go up with us. He was a shining light and really caught our eye, earning a deserved move to Germany off the back of his performances. We're bringing in a player who possesses plenty of experience, including at championship level, and has a lot of the qualities that we look for in a centre-half. We're delighted to strengthen our defensive ranks with a player we've been tracking for a long time." Knight progressed through the ranks at Leicester, making his debut in a 2017 Carabao Cup victory at Sheffield United. Further experience was gained with spells on loan at Peterborough and Wycombe, with Player of the Season honours bestowed at the latter club. He then signed for Posh on a permanent deal in the summer of 2021, scoring 8 goals in 135 appearances. Knight played the full 90 minutes at Wembley when they dramatically beat Wycombe to lift the EFL trophy in 2024. He left London Road at the end of that season to sign for Hannover 96 in the second tier of German football. Knight found the target 3 times in 24 outings last term to help them to a 9th place finish, but is now returning to England.
And he's clearly a class act, and we welcome him to Fratton Park, of course. Some will question whether there is a hope of a 100% fitness with Bauat, who made a comeback and then has sort of disappeared slightly, complaining, or at least reporting, that his injury, which obviously must have been a pretty serious injury, is still giving him a bit of grief. He feels it, which means that effectively we are down to 3 centre-halves in Shaughnessy, Poole and Matthews. With Matthews really waiting in the wings because we have high hopes of him, don't we? But as for Bauat, we wish him well. We hope he's well, but we hope that the purchase of Knight, and there's talk of it being a £1 million plus signing. There's talk of him being potentially our 4th central defender rather than our 5th central defender already. But strength in depth, you can't have too many centre-halves. You only have to go back to the dark days of last season when we were playing right-backs and left-backs at centre-half, and indeed holding midfield players at centre-half. And John Messinho obviously, clearly, and I'm not saying he's got a vulnerability to a kind of fearful second thinking about needing to stock his squad with centre-halves because of what happened last season. He's simply taking sensible and carefully thought out, reasonable and logical precautions. So welcome a new Knight on the team sheet for Pompey. The news agency The 72 have asked 2 of their experts to preview the West Brom game.
Callum Burgess. After last week's victory away at Wrexham, Ryan Mason is already starting to earn plaudits from the West Brom faithful. Isaac Price has continued his form with Northern Ireland and has gone to another level in a West Brom shirt. The Baggies' best performances last season arguably both came against Portsmouth. The 3-0 win at Fratton Park and 5-1 home victory were 2 highlights of a mostly miserable season for Baggies fans. If they can reach anywhere near the level they were at in those displays as well as what they've shown so far this season, then the chances are it will be a tough afternoon for Pompey. With that being said, Pompey are no pushovers by any means. Colby Bishop is a handful and their new signing Adrian Segacic looks like a talented player. However, if they continue with the pairing of John Swift and Andre Dozzell in midfield, then they may struggle to deal with Price's late runs into the box. I think that West Brom's 100% record in the Championship will continue beyond this Saturday, with another strong display in the early days of the Ryan Mason era. Prediction: West Brom 2, Portsmouth 0. James Ray. I don't think Portsmouth are far away from being a really solid side at this level. They've got some really bright talents across the pitch who could develop into star players, but Adrian Segacic is one who has jumped straight into the limelight after his summer move. West Brom have their own emerging star in Isaac Price though, so keep an eye out for big moments from those 2. On the grand scheme of things though, I do think WBA are a slightly more complete side. They've started well under Mason, but it might not prove to be all plain sailing, especially against a Pompey side well drilled under a top coach in Messinho. Ultimately though, I just see more paths to victory for the hosts. This should be a good game. Prediction: West Brom 2, Portsmouth 1.
So West Brom's one to watch is Isaac Price, full name Isaac Jude Price, born September 2003. He's just 21. He stands 6'4", which is a good size, obviously, good height anyway for a midfielder who likes to make late runs into the box. He started his footballing journey. He's from Pontefract. He's a Yorkshire lad. Although his paternal grandmother was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, he also has ancestry from the Republic of Ireland and Germany, and I think it's Northern Ireland that he's elected to go with, and he already has 22 full caps for them, having represented them at everything from under 16 through to under 21. He started his footballing journey with the Everton Academy aged 7, and he signed a professional contract with them for 3 years. Made his debut for Everton as an 89th minute substitute as they beat mighty Boreham Wood in an FA Cup. What was it, second round, third round, I think. I think the point here is that he was never likely to really make the grade with Everton, so they let him go, and Standard Liège snapped him up in the Belgian Pro League, and he played 59 times for them, scoring just the once. When he returned to England, signing for West Brom on a 4.5-year deal for an undisclosed fee for Standard Liège in January 2025, right at the end of the winter window. He has made 16 appearances for West Brom so far, but he's settled in well, and he's been given a slightly more attacking role with West Brom than he had at Standard Liège, because played 16, scored 4 is a pretty good rate. Isaac Price. The News are running an excellent update on the progress being made by Harvey Blair. To find out the full thing, then you need to go to the website or buy a copy of the paper if you're old school.
There's cautious optimism at Pompey as Harvey Blair prepares for a crucial specialist appointment that could mark a turning point in his recovery journey. The ex-Liverpool winger, who netted once in his 12 appearances for the Blues, has been sidelined with a brutal hamstring injury that nearly ripped the tendon from the bone. The injury, which came from a tackle by Hull's Sean McLaughlin in last season's final game, has kept the promising 21-year-old out of action for months. While manager John Messinho admits Blair isn't ready for first-team football just yet, there's growing confidence in his recovery. "We're in a much better place than we were 6 to 8 weeks ago," Messinho noted, though he's careful not to put a timeline on Blair's return. This week's specialist visit could give Blair the green light to ramp up his rehabilitation. Welcome news for both the player and a Portsmouth side eager to have their young talent back on the pitch. The club's medical team has been pleased with his progress so far, taking things step by step to ensure a full and proper recovery. Messinho continued, "Harvey is doing okay. He is going to see a specialist this week, so once the specialist has had a good check over to see how he is, we're either going to get the green light to really crack on, or we might have to do a bit more strengthening work in the gym. So he's not out on the grass yet, but it's very, very close to hopefully us getting the green light, and then going ahead to really push him. You need to tick off a couple of boxes by the time you get to this stage, so seeing the specialist is just to make sure there's no risk in actual re-injury by increasing the level of rehab and getting him out there and sprinting. Harvey isn't close, he's not close at all, but we are much happier with him in terms of where we are now. Obviously then where we were 6 to 8 weeks ago, we haven't actually put a timescale on his return. When he first did the injury, we were hopeful maybe he'd be back before the international break, September, but it's definitely not going to be the case. We are not rushing him, so we want to get it right. It's not one that drags on for months and months, but it's also not going to be in the next couple of weeks."
Yeah, so would he play on Saturday if he was physically fit and also match fit, match sharp? Would he play? How impressed were we on the 12 occasions that he ran out in a blue shirt? I seem to remember that most of them were as a sub, but he did net the one goal. He was quick. He's obviously very talented. I mean, Liverpool, for goodness sake. and therefore he was borderline good enough to be a Premier League player, but Liverpool decided that that wasn't to be, at least not with them. So he obviously has tremendous potential and tremendous ability. And with no Lang, he would have been right in the frame to play on Saturday, wouldn't he? If indeed he hadn't been blooded before then, giving Lang a bit of a breather, say, against Oxford. Not that he wanted a breather against Oxford. You couldn't have dragged him off the pitch, I don't think. He didn't come off, did he? Otherwise, I've just put my foot in it. I don't think so. So, Blair is on the way, but he is not the solution to our wide right attacking problem at the moment. So it will be fascinating to see how that one is resolved. If you get an opportunity to listen to Steve Bone's thoughts on the subject, he's drifting towards the possibility that we might ask Matt Ritchie to stay on and cover for Lang, or whoever ends up being our permanent number 7, until the transfer window is ended. And maybe Matt Ritchie will part company with Pompey by mutual agreement, making him a free agent, so he is able to join whoever it is he wants and negotiate whatever terms he's able to do. But Harvey Blair, that's good news. Better than the news that we had about Lang and Marlon Pack. It hasn't been a good start to the season as far as the medics are concerned. They've been kept very busy, which is very annoying.